A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 17, verses 1 to 6. Passage taken from the Message version of the Bible. He said to his disciples, "Hard trials and temptations are bound to come, but too bad for whoever brings them on. Better to wear a millstone necklace and take a swim in the deep blue sea than give even one of these dear little ones a hard time. Be alert. If you see your friend going wrong, correct him. If he responds, forgive him. Even if it is personal against you and repeated 7 times through the day, and 7 times he says, 'I am sorry, I won't do it again,' forgive him." The apostles came up and said to the Master, "Give us more faith." But the Master said, "You don't need more faith. There is no more or less in faith. If you have a bare kernel of faith, say the size of a poppy seed, you could say to this sycamore tree, 'Go jump in the lake,' and it would do it." The Gospel of the Lord. Reflections on the Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 17, verses 1 to 6. Evangelist Luke pays great attention on the command of Jesus to care for the poor and oppressed. He finds the social and economic situation of the poor of his community had a lot in common with the situation in the Jewish society where Jesus lived. Although the members of the community professed the same faith, the division between the rich and the poor within the community could never be totally addressed and redressed. Jesus says, leading one of these little ones to sin is a more serious sin. For Evangelist Luke, the little ones that Jesus was referring to must have meant those poor and socially disadvantaged members of the Christian community, or those who are frail in their Christian faith. They must have been struggling to maintain their faith in a secular world that did not care. Their struggle would have been compounded when the Christian community failed to accept and support them. The danger was real. And the words of Jesus, that it would be better to be drowned in the sea than to lead someone to sin, served to emphasize this seriousness. Jesus emphasizes the obligation of every member of the Christian community to be responsible for their brothers and sisters, protecting and supporting them. It is indeed important for all to accept genuine responsibility for each other. Forgiveness is an attitude that should identify a Christian because it is the attitude of Jesus. When teaching the disciples to pray, Jesus had taught them that forgiving one another enables one to obtain God's forgiveness. Jesus presented God's forgiveness as an expression of God's joy. But how often have we experienced the difficulty in forgiving those who have offended us? Forgiving becomes a difficulty or an impossibility when I hold on to the positions that I consider as right and demand the other to agree with my convictions. But that is not forgiveness. Can I give in and forgive the one who hurt me, in spite of knowing that he or she might repeat the same offense again? That is the challenge before the Christian. The prayer of the apostles needs to be our prayer today. Lord, increase our faith. All what Jesus asks of his disciples is not for great faith, but Simple faith, a little faith, even to the size of a mustard seed. But can faith be measured in quantity? Jesus emphasizes your faith, however little it is, guarantees God's providence. Again, would any tree planted in the sea grow or even survive? Yes, it would. The Christian community had, in fact, been planted in an extremely hostile environment. In spite of the persecutions and killings, the survival and flourishing of the Christian community were purely the result of the providence of God.